Hooray for Hollywood.
The following may contain offensive language, adult humor, and or content that some viewers may find offensive. The views and opinions expressed by any one speaker does not explicitly or necessarily reflect or represent those of Mark Radulich or W2M Network. Please listen with caution, or don't listen at all.
Hooray for Hollywood, where stars are living large in mansions with their servants and their credit cards in charge, with fame that's fleeting, but the egos never change, where everyone's a genius except the ones who really arrange. Hooray for Hollywood, where the scandals always sell, where every whispered secret is a new tabloid's tell. Oh, how we adore the endless red carpet galore. Hooray for Hollywood, where less is always more.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are listening to a Radulich Broadcasting premiere podcast, Damn You Hollywood. And here's your host, Robert Winfrey. I have a question, Zach.
Yeah.
Were you trying to be Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget?
Yes.
And if you were, you turned way too soon. Like I was gonna do the Mr. Claw thing, and I was waiting for you to go, "I'll get you next time, Gadget, next time," and then you turn around and go, "Oh my God, it's Zachary Strobel."
that was the cat.
You definitely needed if you're going to do like Dr. Claw, you need a cat.
Needs a strong word.
Next time, Mark. Next time.
There it is. All right, Robert. This is your
Hi,
show
Mark.
after all.
How you doing?
Hi. Splitting headache right here. And it's what is it? Is it I have a headache this big and it's got Excedrin written all over it? Is that how that goes?
I think that's how that goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to remember the referral point for over the right eyebrow. It's on the back of your neck. I can't remember where it is specifically off the top of my head.
Well, if it involves me getting hit in the back of my head to make this go away, I'll be glad to be, you take a Halliburton briefcase, or a steel chair, whatever gets the job done.
It's less impact and more like, okay, here we press on the soft tissue, maybe get something to scrape so we break up some of the fibrotic connective stuff that's not good.
I would absolutely love it if someone pressed on my soft tissue right now with lead. Hey, what are we doing tonight, Robert?
Talking your suicidal ideation, apparently.
Ronnie Adams here with the hot take. No one needs a cat. Dude, I went to my girlfriend's house maybe less than an hour last week, and I'm pretty certain whatever exposure I had to the cat dander in the air got me sick for a week. I'm just now getting over it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Maybe later, but not now.
I miss you, Zach.
I missed you too.
I do have 2 cats around the house, so if one of them comes over,
Everyone stop threatening me with cat dander. It's only funny if I want to kill myself. When other people want to do it, it's not so funny. And here it is, Ronnie Adams again. Mark soft tissue. Blah. All right. Robert, for the third time.
Well, since this is Mark's therapy session, Mark, how are you doing tonight?
Just Ducky, will you please move on with this?
Well, we've also got Zach with us. You've heard him a few times. How you doing, Zach?
Very good. How are you?
I imagine this was your kind of movie.
I wrote half of it.
It felt that way to me. I'm sitting there in the theater.
You gonna tell people what we're doing at all? Would someone in my life please stick to a schedule and a format? Anyone. I'm begging anyone in my life to stick to a schedule and a format.
Well, Mark, it's only been 4.5 minutes. We are still well under time. Take a breath.
No.
Tonight, everyone, we are discussing the reboot / sequel / remake of The Naked Gun, starring Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson, also featuring really cheap acting talent in the form of people signed to TKO in some some form or fashion.
The Naked Gun is a 2025 American crime action comedy film directed by Akiva Schaffer, not to be confused with Akiva Goldman.
Which I did last week. My apologies.
And we'll never let you live it down. By Schaffer and written by Schaffer, Dan Gregor, not Conor McGregor, and Doug Mand. It is the fourth film in the Naked Gun franchise. It stars Liam Neeson in the main role with the aforementioned Pamela Anderson, the Oscar-snubbed Pamela Anderson, as I've been referring to her. Walter Hauser.
She was arguably snubbed on the nomination side, but no further than that.
I totally agree with that. Kevin Durand and Danny Huston starring in supporting roles. It follows the son of Lieutenant Frank Drebin, who must succeed his father's footsteps to prevent the closure of Police Squad. So, Zach, you asked to be here, and this is not your bag usually. This is like the second time this year. Like, what gives you the right, sir? What makes you think you could just waltz on any old podcast that isn't a cartoon? Who the hell do you think you are, Alexis?
Well, I wasn't planning to see this movie, but then I realized it was full of puns, had Weird Al in it, lots of cartoon humor, and I thought that sounds awful, but I must see it, and that's why I'm here.
Have you seen the previous Naked Gun movies?
Yes, I have the first one on VHS because that's how I roll, and I don't have it as a prop because everything's in storage right now.
Thank God.
But I did get this cool poster. Got this cool poster at the local showing.
My daughter has one of those because so funny thing about that, I take a picture of my kids usually in front of the movie poster, but when we go to the AMC Brandon, there's usually an IMAX poster that we take most of our photos in front of. I used to do the IMAX thing, or second to that, we'll go to the Dolby, and there's usually a poster in front of that one. In this particular case, we went to the earliest showing I could get them to was the one in Riverview, which is really great if for those people who live in Tampa and nobody else. But we'll keep going with my tourism talk. So I take them to the Riverview AMC, and there's no poster outside for the Naked Gun. So I figured there's got to be one inside. And I say to the young lady, this young chippy, I say, "You, young Gen Z person, where is the poster for the Naked Gun?" And she went, "Dang, right here, boss." And she picks up one of the posters. And I'm like, that's not what I said, and this is why I don't talk to people or leave my house. So anyway, that's how Lily ended up with the poster. So we took a picture of her with the poster and my son standing in front of Downton Abbey because that would be funny for my ex-wife. 2 steps later, 2. There was the big cardboard thing of Liam Neeson doing the Van Damme split. It was right there. And I looked at my kids and I said, "Children," and they said, "Father," and I said, "Children," because I called them children. And I said, "Should we retake this photo, or should we keep the one of Lily holding the Naked Gun poster in front of Downton Abbey?" And they went, "We are not your monkeys. We've already taken this picture. We will go have our seats now. We're done with you and your foolishness." And they stormed away. That's how they talk.
Bring us the popped corn.
Yes. Buttered popcorn, Father. That is what we're on about now. Enough of your photography and your foolishness. This is how my
How dare you want to actually create memories or document things for yourself in your later years when your brain turns to pudding.
Yes. But to answer your question, yes, I have seen the original. I have seen all 3. The original is my favorite. I'm not a big fan of the second one. Third one's a slight improvement from the second one, but the first one will always. I think it was like good, like going from like it's obviously like the same world as like Hot Shots and Airplane, that kind of.
I just now read that. I put it up before I even read the comment.
Haven't you learned your lesson about that yet,
It's
Mark?
not Pat, so I had faith.
Like he's the only one who'll do that to you.
It's fair.
But
anyway.
Yeah, I really like it because I felt like it was good at going from like scene to location, and I like it. I like that it was like trying to be one of those like old school detective show movie thing, but it was. But that was kind of the charm of the Naked Gun series, is that everyone was kind of playing it straight. I'm like, yeah, I mean, they know they're in a silly movie, but it's like they're going to play it super straight. And I think I'll get more into this, but I mean, that's also part of why this movie works.
So a couple of things. Weird Al's in all of these, by the way. He's in
Yeah.
the first 3 Naked Gun movies, and he's in this one too.
Yes.
So that's a fun thing that they kept. But yeah, Sean, we talked about this on the Long Road to Ruin, that this was the Naked Gun was a send up of the old black and white 50s and 60s style cop show, cop movies, James Cagney type things. And it's actually one of the things I talked about on the TikTok of this review, which I don't want to get too far ahead of us, but this felt more like a spoof of modern action movies and less like that, which made it feel very different than what the Naked Gun, I think, was ever intended to be. But we'll get more into that in a little bit. I actually disagree with you. I think the second one is better than the third one. The first one, nothing is better than the first one, including this movie. But I preferred the second one to the third one.
That's because you are strange.
Well, the reason I really didn't like the second one, this is kind of a me thing, and this is going to go into spoilers, but I mean, these movies are like 40 years old. The thing is, like, I don't like it when, like, in the first one, they, like, the romance between Leslie Nielsen and Elvis's wife, like, they just...
Priscilla Presley?
I don't know why I couldn't remember that.
But say Lisa Marie.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like when they do a movie where it's like they try to get them in love and they have good chemistry, and this is part of the reason I don't like Ghostbusters 2 too. But then it's like the next movie, like in between movies, they break up and then they're trying to get back together. I don't know. I know.
Oh, that's a dumb trope.
It's a dumb trope.
I absolutely hate it.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why it stops the second one from being better than the third one, in my opinion. That might be a me thing, but yeah,
that's fair. Just real quick, have you seen either of the Airplane movies?
Yes, and I have to remind myself there's a second one.
The second one's good.
The second one is really
it's the
funny.
same movie, but in space.
Oh, that's the William Shatner stuff.
William Shatner's in it.
Yeah,
okay, fine. It makes it better. Okay, fine.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and then my last question for you. This is more having just to do with Zaz, the Zucker brothers kind of a thing. Have you ever seen the Kentucky Fried Movie?
Yes, I have.
Catholic high school girls in trouble.
Mark made me watch that. We recorded
I did.
it.
I made him do a live reaction to the Kentucky Fried Movie.
I've seen all the Zaz movies. They're great.
Yeah, I know. Well, in the back of my head, like I was going to ask you anyway, just to make conversation, but I was like, why would Zach want to come on for the Naked Gun? I'm like, oh, he's probably like, because he's a big Mel Brooks fan, and if you're a Mel Brooks fan, you're probably a Zucker Brothers fan, and if you're, and it's that you just like comedy, parody, that sort of thing. So this is well within your wheelhouse.
Yeah, it's like I like the Mel Brooks and Zucker Brothers, Jim Abrams, Pat Proft, all those type of movies.
Yep. All right, you can stay. You passed the test.
Yay!
All right, Robert, you want to tell us in 50 words or less what the plot of this thing is?
There's a plot to this movie?
Yeah, really.
So we follow Frank Drebin Jr., played by Liam Neeson. And we open with him foiling most of a bank robbery, but Kevin Durand takes a break from beating his chest and acting like a gorilla to get a plot device, literal plot device, and pass it off to Danny Huston, who is the guy you get if you can't get Brian Cox.
He's been playing a lot of the devil lately.
Danny Huston is a first-rate, second-class player of Bastards.
Yeah.
If you can't get an A-list, top-of-the-line slime ball, Danny Huston is the first guy you call on the B tier of that kind of character.
Makes sense. Keep going.
So again, if you can't get Brian Cox, you get Danny Huston. It's kind of how that goes. So he's now got the plot device, and they're threatening to shut down Police Squad because of course they are, and because it's a modern movie, CCH Pounder is our captain, because if you can't get Viola Davis, you get CCH Pounder. That's just the rules.
They really did get the not yet ready for primetime players for this, didn't they?
No, they did fine. That's a I'll go to that joke later if you feel so inclined, but and he starts investigating, but because he handles things badly, he gets bussed down to investigating traffic collisions. So naturally he goes to one where somebody drove off a cliff. And he's ready to declare it a suicide, but then Pamela Anderson shows up and says, "No, it was my brother. He never would commit suicide." And he goes, All right, maybe it wasn't. We'll have a look around. And eventually he connects that back to the bank robbery. Because the guy who was killed in the car, works for the guy who hired the bank robbery. And the guy who hired the bank robbery again is Danny Huston, and he is playing our Elon Musk / Jeff Bezos / Bill Gates stand-in, because that's the only villain archetype we know how to do anymore. And he says, look, the world was better before all this technology, and I invested so much time and energy into clean energy and making this world a better place, and all it's done is go down the toilet. Most relatable thing I've seen a villain do in a long time. And he goes, you know what we're going to do? I got the plot device, and it will make everyone kill each other. So what we're going to do is we're going to gather all the best people. We're going to stick them in a couple of bunkers, and we'll listen to Weird Al and maybe the Black Eyed Peas, and we'll have a good time. And then in about 10 years, when everyone else is dead, we'll come back out, we'll repopulate, and we'll make it a better place. And everyone sitting around the boardroom table with him goes, you know, this isn't insane. Let's go along with it. Doesn't sound too bad. As long as the enemy doesn't get a bunker differential. Sorry, that's a weird reference. Dr. Strangelove. It's one of the last things George C. Scott says before there was supposed to be a pie fight.
Mm-hmm.
Can't let the Soviets get a bunker gap when we have to repopulate the world. Anyway. So that's the basic setup there, and Frank investigates. There's stuff. He almost gets killed. He has to escape from a deranged smart car. He crashes a UFC event after getting the plot device back from the New Year's balls.
Yeah.
2 of them. Get it?
Yeah.
Along the way, he and Pamela Anderson fall in love. There's a threesome with a snowman, and I couldn't help but thinking of Mark the whole time.
Thank you. I'm very pleased, but that's the best thing I've heard all night.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, that's sad. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Ultimately, of course, he is successful. He stops Danny Huston's plot. He and Pam Anderson get together, and Police Squad is saved from turning into a spirit Halloween store. And yeah, that's it. That's all there is. Look, there's not a plot here, people. There's a bones of a story, and a lot of really well thought out gags.
All right. Speaking of thought out gags, who are you, Zachary? What did you think of this movie?
I really liked it. I thought it was probably the second most troll movie ever made. First one will always belong to Deadpool and Wolverine, but it's just a movie. No, seriously, think about it. It's like all this money thrown to a movie that is really about nothing. It's just about jokes, like any joke is thrown, and it just doesn't care. It's like, oh, you didn't laugh at that joke? Well, we're on the next joke already. Well, like, keep up.
I want to help you. I don't want to interrupt you. I don't want to take over your time. But you're saying something, and I feel the need to make a point. So give me this, and then I will
that's fair. That's fair.
Hand it all the way back to you. I'm going to need Robert to take a Xanax for this, because there is a point to be made here, and I don't want to get into a side argument. Some of the stuff, not all of it, some of the stuff in Barbie was funny because it was specifically making fun of a well-known trope. I'm thinking specifically the bit where all the guys all the Kens are sitting in a circle on the beach and they're all singing "Push," and because again, I've known guys like this, I've seen guys like this, I've seen this happen, I've been a part of it, where the guy trying to impress the girl has to play her an acoustic guitar and she has to feign interest, while he's being serenaded by this guy who thinks he's being romantic, and because it's Barbie and because everything had to be absurd, they were all doing the same thing. Like, that's the difference between the original Naked Gun and this one, is knowing what the tropes are, that people are very familiar with and love, and kind of attacking them with humor. it's a subtle difference, but that's kind of the difference between this Naked Gun and the first one, where the first one very intentionally knew what it was making fun of. This one doesn't. And I'm using, like I said, that's why I pointed to Barbie as a reference, where Barbie very specifically knew what it was making fun of and went after it. And it, for those that got a huge reaction. Keep going, Zach.
Okay. Anyway, what I liked about the movie is it's just, I liked it because it was a nice change of pace. Like, I thought it was like, because I know we've talked about this. I won't go too much into this because we've talked about this in other reviews. Like, no one is going to the movies anymore. That's why a lot of movies coming out. It's like, oh, dude, you got to see this movie. It's a really big event. The world's gonna blow up, and that's why like every movie is like a Marvel movie now.
Right.
But I like that this movie, like, or at least Marvel stakes, like in their movie. But this movie it's just I miss variety. I miss that it was what this movie was. Like, this was a movie, like I said, a movie really about nothing. It was just a bunch of jokes. But the studio, like, treated it like, because I went to New York, like, about 2 weeks ago, and I saw marketing for this on buildings, on signs, it was everywhere. So, obviously, they had a lot of faith in this movie. It's like, dude, just come see our silly movie and just laugh at it. And that's what that's what I like. It would. I mean, I'm not gonna say there was no effort. Obviously, like, the shots, like, were funny. It was funnier because it was like it was shot like a modern movie. It wasn't, because I went back and watched a lot of the old Naked Gun movies, and they're very bright. The cinematography isn't really taking any risks. But that's what I like about this movie, because I mean, it does have shots. It is shot like a real movie, like, with dark lighting, and that's what I think updates it and makes it a lot funnier. I mean, it's still got the fast-paced jokes and stuff like that. But
I saw someone say this movie is shot almost like, you know, John DeBont or Michael Mann almost. Yeah, it is. I did like that Liam Neeson. Like, obviously, he knows he's in a silly movie, but he is giving like 1,000,000%. Like,
I was gonna say, this feels less like a Naked Gun and more like a Taken parody.
No, it does, and it feels like even when, like, there was like I'll give an example from the movie. Like, there was a scene where, like, he fits he's like, why would you plug in the Ethernet cord into my TiVo? And it's like, I'm like, okay, that's a little funny, but then, like, it goes on. It feels more like a Family Guy thing, which I know Seth MacFarlane produced this. But it feels like it goes on, but the bit is not funny, but it's fun, but it's also funny because he's giving so much.
Right.
Treating
it deadly seriously.
But you could still sense he's having fun.
Right.
The only thing I mean, like I said, the humor is very Zach related, like a lot of puns, a lot of props, which I know nothing about, by the way.
He didn't step on the brakes before he went over the edge. Drunk? A little bit, but just enough to get my head going in the morning.
Yeah, I like it. It really, like, the filmmakers really did have a respect, but did want to update the style of the Naked Gun. The only thing I would have done, but it does kind of counteract, is the movie is also mercifully short. Like, I don't even think this thing cracks like 90 minutes.
85 minutes.
It doesn't. And
blessedly short.
And I even stayed during the credits because I like the music. But the thing is, it's like, which is like, I don't think there has been a movie in like the past 15 years that's been like 85 minutes that hasn't been animated.
That's true, unless it went straight to Netflix or some shit.
Yeah, and I'm glad this didn't go to Netflix. I'm glad it was in.
If you want to know why, part of the reason, somebody mentioned this and I can't unsee it. The Netflix original filming part of it, their studio, what they do, the first thing they took was comedies and low budget action.
Mm-hmm.
They removed an entire like middle class of film from the theatrical experience,
which we have been talking about for like the last 10 years now.
Yeah, but it got put in starker relief with this movie getting a theatrical release. If you need like a juxtaposition, Happy Gilmore 2 went straight to Netflix.
Yeah.
Same weekend, pretty much. And
yeah, but I
this
know Sandler has a deal with Netflix, so that makes sense.
Oh yeah, I know why. I'm just saying, like, there was a time when Happy Gilmore 2 is a theatrical release along with this, and it's been forever since we've seen a legitimate comedy go the theatrical route, in no small part because Netflix just kind of swallowed a lot of that. And now it's lost in the algorithm and the infinite shelf, and nobody sees it or talks about it.
Yeah. But to wrap up my thoughts, what I did was, it was great. They were just like, hey, come see this movie. Like, they market it like just not like an epic comedy, but like just a really funny comedy that you should go see in a theater and laugh with other people. And I liked it. My only criticism, which it does kind of counteract with my first thing, is you're not supposed to care about this movie. And like, you're not supposed to care about the characters, the plot, and like, I didn't even care. Like, they're like, oh, the police forces, like, that's why I said, like, there's a plot to this thing. Like, there's, like, I didn't know when they shut down. He's like, you're off the force. It's like, oh, well, he's going to be back in like 2 scenes. Like, I knew, like, I didn't care. I was just waiting for the next joke to come. But the only thing is, it does become a little overkill. Like, it would have been nice if there was like at least a little bit of an arc or at least some depth to Frank's character. But you know, I know that's not the type of movie it was. It was meant to just be. And look, and it's good once in a while. I mean, it'd be annoying if there were all these silly movies that were all about nothing. But you know what? It was a great change of pace. I really liked it. Yeah, I recommend it.
There was a trailer right before this came out where it was like the PSA. It was like, please, you know, like an acknowledgement that comedy has gone straight to streaming, and that this was trying to get interest back in, you know, comedy in the theater, which made me laugh. And I remember, like, I was sitting there with my kids who didn't know what half of these movies were, and I had to ask me if they were like real things. I'm like, these were real comedies.
Every single one of them.
Real comedies in the movies. It's actually really funny that The Naked Gun and Billy Madison 2 came out
Happy
at the same.
Happy
Gilmore, whatever.
They're so similar.
Happy Gilmore 2. Happy Gilmore 2 came out at the same time because it really is kind of a fun little experiment to see. Because, like, you know, in an alternate universe, flip a coin, and Happy Gilmore goes to the theater, and The Naked Gun goes straight to streaming. Like, I haven't seen Happy Gilmore 2 yet. I've been told I should see it because MJF's in the movie, and I'll like that sort of thing.
Will you?
I liked it.
Anywho, doing a lot of shrugging tonight, but I think I could go out on a limb and say you could have swapped these and nothing would have been lost. Like, the quality-wise, I think they're probably about the same.
I think this is better than a late-stage Adam Sandler project. I'm just going to say that out loud.
So you can see it on the screen because they have a thing now where you can just put the comments directly on stage. Happy Gilmore 2 is way better than what people have said, and MJF is good in it. Thank you, Ronnie.
I refuse to believe MJF is good in anything, but
so I talked about this in my TikTok review. I'll just kind of touch on it. I laughed. I thought it was funny. Not as funny as the first Naked Gun. There are things. I mean, like, I'm not looking. This was definitely a turn my brain off movie, and if I saw funny colors and jingling keys, I was gonna react to it, which I did. I actually really liked Pamela Anderson in this. She's not doing a Priscilla Presley impression, which is good. She's being herself. Mm-hmm. But she's definitely, she more than anyone else in this movie was going for the hard-boiled detective noir trope. Nobody else really was. She was doing it, and I think she was doing a pretty good job of, you know, being the mysterious dame who gets the plot going. And she has good chemistry with Liam Neeson. Their romance sequence with the snowman cracked me the fuck up. Like, I laughed hard during almost all of that.
I mean, it's funny.
Yeah,
they committed, man.
They really did. Like, and like Pamela Anderson, like, God
that
bless
scene
her.
Feels like something that they is tacked on because crap, our movie's only 80 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, like, little things like when she's like, take a seat, no thank you, I already have furniture, and then she's pissed that he won't take the case or whatever.
I think I will take a chair.
I think I will take a chair. Like, she's she's got funnier comedy chops than she probably gets credit for because she's only known. It's the same thing with the last Showgirl. It's like nobody ever wants to give Pamela Anderson credit for what she can do because they only see what she does do, and it's like, no, she's more than a body. She's more than a pretty face. I mean, again, she's not, Faye Dunaway, but she's perfectly serviceable in a lot of these roles. So give Pamela Anderson her flowers, as the kids say. I think my biggest complaint about The Naked Gun, and I talked a little bit about this on TikTok, is it doesn't feel, like I said before, The Naked Gun was very purposely sending up old cop and detective noir movies, dramas. And that's what makes, especially the first Naked Gun, that's what makes it funny. And here, this does the same thing that a lot of movies do nowadays, is they don't know why things used to work. They just do kind of an impression of them. So this isn't like Scary Movie Bad or anything like that, like that series of movies where all those are just reference palooza. That's not this. This is just what are some action comedy tropes? What are some buddy comedy, cop action movie drama comedies that we can make fun of? We'll just do that, and we'll have Liam Neeson. He isn't really doing like they kind of do a little bit of the hard-boiled detective thing, and then they get away from it again, and he's doing other stuff, and it's like, oh, you don't really commit to any one thing in this. It feels like it was a slave to, this is a comedy, we're really banking on come back to the theater for comedy. So they went out of their way to just create kind of surface level laughs instead of committing to something like sending up a particular trope or a type of character, which I think is unfortunate because it makes this movie a lot flatter and a lot more shallow than it could have been. If you don't like Seth MacFarlane humor, you're not going to like this movie. I think that goes without saying. I think my son watches a lot of Family Guy now, and we used to watch as a Family Guy together. That was kind of our Sunday night routine. So my kids are well versed in the Seth MacFarlane style of humor. And that was the first comment we all, like, as we're getting up and leaving the theater, we're like, what, Lily, Jonas, father, what did you think of the movie? And we all went, it was very Family Guy. And we went, yeah, ha! All right, let's move on and go do something else now. I can't not bring this up. Good effort for trying, I guess, but the fact of the matter is, theatrical exhibition now really is the place of events, and this wasn't an event picture. Like I said, you could have watched this on streaming, you'd have lost nothing. They didn't do anything with the opportunity. It was almost like, we're going to just do this movie and we're going to put it in theaters and you're going to like it, and that's all there is to it. It's like, no. You actually have to put effort into this. You actually have to try. You have to kind of, reach for the brass ring, as it were, and you don't really do that here. You 20 years ago, this is enough. Now it's not. This isn't worth going to the theater for, which was the whole point of making the movie. It's like, we're going to give you a comedy that's so funny and so full of depth that you're going to want to come to the theater for this. So, like, you did not achieve that goal, which is unfortunate. Which sounds like I'm complaining a lot about this movie, but like I said, it was funny. I was entertained. I could have just as easily watched this at home, and the only reason why I saw it in the theaters is because we do this show. So, outside of that, the other cast of characters, CCH Pounder plays, that character, just as well as the police sergeant from the original Beverly Hills Cop. Same goddamn character. Paul Walter Hauser, he's funnier in other movies. They wasted him here. Like,
this is kind of his ceiling.
He's a better actor than all that. And like I said, you didn't watch Cobra Kai. He's hilarious in Cobra Kai.
I refuse to believe that.
Gonna fight me on everything tonight. Okay. So anyway, Paul Walter Hauser is actually a lot funnier than they let him be in this movie, which is unfortunate. So, the risk of continuing to argue with Robert for no good reason. Robert, your thoughts?
Look, I laughed. I had a pretty decent time with it. There's some funny stuff.
Did you like this more or less than Fantastic Four?
More.
Did you like this more or less than Superman?
Like? Purely subjective? Yeah, more.
Interesting. Okay. Did you like this more or less than I Know What You Did Last Summer?
Oh, come on. This might wind up in my 10 best of the year.
Wow.
Mostly because I have a boatload of empty slots.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I mean, nothing from August is going in there. I've looked at the schedule.
I was saying, did you see the schedule I sent you and started writing your resignation letter?
No comment. I'm not required to tell you the answer to that question.
Oh, I can't wait till next Monday.
It's going to be short.
Most unintentionally funniest comedy I've seen this year so far.
Yeah.
But enough about
We'll get back to the ritual suicide next week.
All right, you were saying.
On a purely personal level, there's a couple of things about this movie that took me out of it. One, through no fault of the movie itself. One that I think is kind of the movie's fault, but you also kind of have to be me for it to bother you. The first one is when they go to their faux UFC event.
Mm-hmm.
And I was reminded that the reason satire is dead is because you can't distinguish between satire and reality anymore. Here we are at the Ponzi scheme.net arena. I swear on a stack of Bibles, they've been to like the crypto.com location or the blockchains are us or whatever. Like they've been to the arenas that are basically the Ponzi scheme. And then you get the overhead shot of the UFC canvas and it's like a NASCAR car. Not satire. That's what it looks like.
So there was at one point the Ford Amphitheater here in Tampa was the 1-800-ASK-GARY Amphitheater.
Yeah, like that's a thing. So you can't satirize it because it's real life is just a self-parody at this point. And then Kamaru Usman actually threw a combination that was reminded, yes, this is clearly fiction. And the one time Daniel Cormier might have been appropriate as a figure on the UFC broadcast team. We don't have him here because he doesn't pay acting dues. So that, again, but you kind of have to be me for that to bother you. Like, I'll have a lot of experience with the MMA space these days and how depressing it is. And then there's the one that really took me out. And this is, again, you have to be me. But owls don't poop.
Okay. I'm going to cut you off there because I meant to say this before. The final showdown between Liam Neeson and Danny Huston, I was really expecting them to pull out lightsabers. When they did the exact same plot point from the first Kingsman movie, I was expecting Freebird. I was expecting them to do that scene. Like, I was waiting for it. Like, if you're going to do the exact same thing where, like, we're going to use a device and make everybody hate each other and there's going to be a giant fist fight in a crowd, well, you have to do the church scene now from the Kingsman, right? And, like, okay, so this is making fun of action movies of the past 10 to 20 years. So that's like the most famous scene in Kingsman. Do that scene. That'll be funny. You know, people will elbow each other. I remember that. That's Kingsman. Oh, it's free. They're even doing a Freebird. Nothing. They, like, a really great opportunity to lampoon something familiar, to have that Barbie push moment, and they don't do it. And then again, like, we've had Star Wars now since 2015 again. You know, it's very much in, you know, the cultural lexicon yet
Is
again.
it?
Gonna fucking kill you tonight. like both of us, like Frodo, like fucking Frodo and Gollum. That's how it's gonna happen.
No, that's not the appropriate reference for what this is. You and I are gonna do the world's worst pro wrestling spot with like Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole off the top of the.
I love you.
Off the top of the cage.
Yeah. Anyway, I was expecting them to pull out lightsabers and then like animate them and like do the bit for like Spaceballs. You know what I'm talking about, Zach, where like you clearly see their stunt doubles, stupid shit like that.
They did that in Hot Shots Part 2.
Yeah, again, it's been a long enough time that they can reuse the same joke and it'll still be funny, and I can elbow my kid and go, they're doing a Hot Shots, and they don't do it. Instead, he punches Danny Huston once, and he goes down, and he's like, "Oh, you've hit me in the soft belly," and now it's a joke about whether or not this nerd has ever been in a fight, and I'm like, this is what we're doing? Why do you run away from obvious jokes that still would have, this is, my God, this is again, just put the title on Lex Luger. No, we're gonna go the other direction and fool everybody, subvert expectations. It's like, why? We're all waiting for it. It would have been funny. Back to you.
So again, there's a few moments.
Obvious joke, you sometimes you just got to put the title on Cowboy. Damn it, I had his name.
Cowboy.
Not Bob Orton. Help me. James Storm. Got it. Without help from you two nits.
James Storm was the Swerve.
No, they were supposed to put the title on James Storm, and they didn't. And then they
were
did it later.
supposed to put the title on Robert Roode, and they didn't.
They've done this twice, then. Let's keep going.
It's TNA. They do it every other weekend. They still do it.
Okay.
Who's the TNA champion? Trick Williams. Because that's what we're doing these days.
All right. Bad enough when I make a wrestling reference someone's going to get.
That is true. Speaking of wrestling references, yeah, Cody Rhodes is here briefly.
They don't do anything with him either.
Well, they put him in a high enough collared shirt to hide his god-awful neck tattoo.
No, Jonas elbowed me. He was like, I can still see his COVID
you really
tattoo.
Can. It's still there.
Yeah, they didn't hide that well at all.
It wasn't a full turtleneck, which is kind of what he needs. So again, there's plenty of jokes here. I think the big thing I took away from this is my renewed appreciation for proper comedy. In the following way. For the last 15 years, comedy movies have been reduced to, we're going to hire a bunch of comedians. We're going to do 18 improv takes of every scene, and we'll sort of cobble together something. And that almost never works. But it's been the industry standard for, again, over a decade to just throw them out there. And they improv. Works for Bill Murray, right? Well, sort of. But you ain't Bill Murray. And here, Seth MacFarlane talked about this. When they wrote this, he's just producing it. And he looks at the script and he goes, okay, we hire 0 comedians. 0. Hire actors. Believe in your writing, hire actors. And it works. And again, this is structured and it makes sense. And everything kind of flows the way that a movie should. They made a movie here. Again, they didn't stitch together some Frankensteinian abomination of improv sketch comedy from people deeply untalented. And it works. So thank you for that. There's not a bad performance. Again, there's nothing here. Liam Neeson is the guy carrying the whole thing, but that's not surprising. It's pretty good. Again, I have no major complaints about this. Fun was had. Jokes were laughed at. We brought back a literal rag doll at one point, which I was so happy to see because ragdoll physics are hilarious. So getting a rag doll that Liam Neeson blocks bullets with that used to be a guy And then he throws it in the middle of them, and they all keep shooting it and then shoot each other because it goes in the middle of them, and they're idiots. Yeah, there's a lot to laugh at. There's a lot of fun to be had. You know, I'm not the biggest comedy guy, and we always kind of struggle to review comedies here because the ultimate acid test is just, did you laugh?
Right.
But this is a reminder that comedy can actually like be written and not just improv'd loosely, then rewritten so that you still have a writing credit. And it's not, you know, for SNL people screwing around together on camera. Paul Feig, looking directly at you in your non-direction. So, yeah, you know what? Thank you to this movie for reminding me that comedy's not completely dead, though around 2009, we sure did try to kill it.
It reminds me of our the line from the song, or rather, which was your line from the worst movies of 2024. And he was like, doing this show made me question whether comedy was still a thing.
That is a line I said.
Zach, anything else before we go? I've said a lot. Robert said a lot. I didn't know if you were preparing your counter.
There was something, but I forgot. But I'm sure it will pop in my head long after this review is over.
Good. Very timely. All right. Well, if that's the case, then let's move on with the show. Ladies and gentlemen, here comes whatever little money there was with this.
Hope we don't go in the corner.
Here comes the money.
We're in the money. We're in the money.
Yes, now.
All right, hit the corner.
On a budget of $42 million, this thing has made $28.5 million.
It's gonna struggle.
Yeah. As of August 3rd, 2025, The Naked Gun has grossed $16.8 million in the U.S. and Canada, and $11.5 million in other territories for a worldwide total of $28.3. In the U.S. and Canada, the film was released alongside The Bad Guys 2 and was projected to gross $15 million at the domestic box office during its opening weekend. It grossed $6.3 on the first day, including $1.6 million from Thursday night previews. It opened at $17 million domestically, finishing in third behind fellow new release The Bad Guys 2 and slightly ahead of projections. So that's good. We'll see if it's got any legs at all. I mean, it's not like it's got... Okay, whoever that is, lower your volume or do something else. Thank you. That said, yet Fantastic Four: First Steps is still the #1 movie of the weekend.
Oof.
Yeah, 67.1% drop. Yikes.
Okay, we got to talk about this for a minute.
By all means.
So, one, there was an overly alarmist take from the people who make money off of clicks on this crap. Somebody did there was an 80% drop for Fantastic Four from Friday to Friday. Which is true, but your Friday opening to your second Friday always has a pretty serious drop. So, it was a little bit alarmist, but if you paid attention to what was actually said and not just the headlines for sensationalism's sake, it meant that the projected drop from from opening weekend to the second weekend was close to the 70% mark. That was the story, not, it's Friday didn't do well. Of course it's Friday didn't do well. So a 67% drop is real bad for this movie. It opened a little soft, They spent the farm on it. And with this drop, its worldwide take at the end of the year is probably $500-ish million.
So I saw an interesting stat today that this is the first time since The Dark Knight and Iron Man came out in the same year that a DC movie has made more than any Marvel movie released in a single year.
That's a heck of a stat.
Yeah, like every year since The Dark Knight and Iron Man, Marvel has beaten DC head to head, and this is the first year it didn't, which I think tells you. And and there's a lot going on with Superman and Fantastic Four. Some of the stories are the same, some of them are a little bit different. Superman is struggling internationally. Superman apparently not that popular of a character overseas. The Marvel brand in and of itself is struggling. Every single movie this year has, if it didn't outright bomb, it underperformed.
They have the other random stat is this is probably the first time that multiple Marvel movies in the same year are money losers.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about, not that I want to go through the short history of phases 4 and 5, but in a year that saw 2 movies that underperformed, they were still Guardians of the Galaxy, which was somewhere near
which did
number
800
one
million,
spot.
I think, when it was all said and done. You still had Multiverse of Madness, which did almost which did like $1 billion.
It didn't do $1 billion, close though.
It was 800 to 900 million around there.
That is correct.
Yeah,
I think Thor: Love and Thunder did 600 or 700 million,
which was a pretty wild underperformance, and that movie is unwatchable. But
sure. But the point is, like, there was always something that Marvel could point to, and even last year, I was beating a drum saying Deadpool and Wolverine wasn't an actual Marvel movie; it was a Fox movie.
True.
But again, there's a lot of intellectual dishonesty out there, or just plain ignorance, or both. So everyone's just like, oh, Marvel finally has a hit. Marvel didn't have a hit. Ryan Reynolds had a hit. Marvel got to trade on his name. That is all the credit you're going to get out of anyone who pays any kind of real attention to this and actually knows the facts.
True.
But the actual Marvel movies, like I said, they had a lot of misses, but they would occasionally do, like the Black Panther movie did really, really well. It doesn't really matter if you liked it or not. It still did well.
It coasted on emotional manipulation because it's a terrible movie. But
Doctor Strange underperformed, but not by much. Just didn't hit the target it was supposed to hit. And like I said, in a year where the other 2 movies didn't do well, Guardians did do well and did well enough that it didn't really matter.
Yeah,
you're right. This is the first year where not Brave New World, not Thunderbolts, and not Fantastic Four. And the other problem with Fantastic Four is this is supposed to kick off Phase 6. It's supposed to. We said this on the review. It's supposed to lead into Doomsday.
Yep.
It failed every. As the guy on the panel last week who said he liked Fantastic Four a lot, it didn't. Much like this movie. And I want to make a point of saying this because it's the kind of argument that we get into in our group chat where people don't understand that words mean things. I can say I like something. I can say something is good. Things can make more money than the average movie. It doesn't change the other side of the equation, which is if it underperforms what the target was, or if it fails to do things its mission objective was embedded in the movie release. Fantastic Four is supposed to get you excited for Doomsday. It didn't do that. It failed. There was nothing about this movie that got me excited for the next Avengers movie. Like I said, at the end of Age of Ultron, when Thanos grabs the gauntlet, everyone was like, holy shit. I can't wait for the next Avengers movie. How many years away is it? It was 3 years away by that point. Because I believe Age of Ultron was what?
2015.
2015? And we don't get Infinity War until 2018. It was 3 years away. But everybody at the end of Age of Ultron.
Well, we did get Civil War, which is kind of Avengers 2.5.
Everyone was chomping at the bit to see the next Avengers movie.
Yeah.
Is anyone chomping at the bit to see this next Avengers? Based on what we've gotten so far?
Nope.
Right.
There's more chomping to be had.
There is a lot more chopping to be had. So that's a big problem for Fantastic Four. And then there's like, oh, you're beating a little too harsh on the Beaver. Let's talk about DC. Superman's supposed to kick off that universe. Is anyone excited for any besides Alexis? Is anyone excited for anything coming out of DC at this point? Based on Superman?
Well, because Supergirl's next is kind of confirmed at this point.
with Timu Sydney Sweeney? Yes, I'm sure people are excited for that because hot blonde, acting like a drunk college girl. But I think generally speaking, there's not a lot of enthusiasm on either side. If we're going by interest level in terms of box office for either one of these movies, that's the point that I'm making.
That's a relevant point, and I need to do the following because it started to come up a lot. The cognitive dissonance going on with the Marvel fans right now is...
Can you okay? If you're gonna go deep dive into Twitter, because even I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what this is, so set it up properly.
Okay. So Fantastic Four comes out, and the Marvel apologists and hardcore community sees it and goes, "This is great. This is great. Everyone should see it. Marvel's back. Look at the scores on Rotten Tomatoes." This is their line for the opening weekend. And then the drop hits. Now, and then everyone yells that the 80% Friday to Friday score is deeply disingenuous. It is. And it's overly alarmist, and it is framed poorly. Because, again, this is all headline clickbait crap, rather than people actually engaging with the substance of what's being said. Then the actual drop hits, and it's 67%. And the pivot now is, I'm sick of the box office discussion around film. It's toxic to the movie industry.
That is such a bullshit fucking gaslighting term. It really is. That is people not being able to handle the thing they like failing.
Yep. And I know
the
this.
The lack of emotional intelligence in the average person, especially anyone touting that line, makes me wish the meteor would hurry up already.
The number of people who say that, if there's a Venn diagram between people saying that about Fantastic, they say it about Thunderbolts too. Like, I don't get it. These were both great. Thunderbolts isn't great. It's not awful. It's not great. But we had the last two Marvel movies. They took chances and they did something slightly new and different, and they should have been rewarded. You'll never be a flop in my heart, and I'm sick of the talk about money. Can't art just be art? These are the same idiots. Venn diagram's a circle between people saying that and people in 2019 going, "Shut up, Doomsday," or "Shut up, Endgame is the biggest movie of all time." And this means it's good because it made over $2 billion. You can't have this both ways, people. Look, the MCU as we used to know, it's dead. Get over it. Mourn? Fine. It's gone. Whatever they do going forward is not going to be the same. That's just where we are. The culture has shifted. The studio has shifted. It became way too much about Kevin Feige's ego. And look, I'm sure the Spider-Man movie will do fine. I don't think it's going to flop entirely. But this is not what it used to be. It's never going to be what it used to be. And that's just where we are. But stop with the disingenuous BS around, but it's art. Can't art just be art? No, they spent... Here's the other thing. Like, no one should care about the financial side of this. Is asinine, childish thinking, especially when these movies cost the the GDP of Costa Rica and Guatemala to make, reshoot, and promote.
Let me throw a caveat in there. You can absolutely not care how much money a movie makes. It is there for you to enjoy or not enjoy. You're allowed to just go into a movie and go, but I liked it.
Yeah.
No one here, especially me, no one here is saying you're not allowed to say, but I liked it, and that's all that matters to me. What you're not allowed to do is then participate in the greater conversation of what this means to the culture, and it's the whole reason we do this segment. The reason why Robert and I spend upwards of 30 to 45 minutes talking about box office news is because that stuff does matter. It may not matter to you, the individual. And I said, have fun enjoying what you enjoy and not enjoying what you don't enjoy. Spending time with your family. Go in peace, brother. However, the rest of the world still has to move on and still has to deal with the consequences, the fallout of movies doing poorly. And just because it makes a lot of money doesn't mean it did well. Because well is defined by, did it meet the projection? If the projection was, when it was greenlit, 700 million, and it does more than 700 million, then it did well. If the projection was 700 million when it was greenlit and it did 500 million, it underperformed. And if it did 200 million, it fucking bombed.
Yeah.
This isn't complicated.
Yeah, and look, you're getting a little bit of the same line from the DC people when we're talking now about, Superman's underperforming, might not even break even when you actually break down the math. And they get their backs up like, yeah, but it's art and it's important and I liked it. Like, look, man, like what you like. I am not here to convince you otherwise.
Everybody at A24 and Neon must be laughing their ass off. That
I would be.
Oh, that's them.
Yes.
So that's where we are with the again, a giant chunk of the Marvel fandom is
Yorgos Lanthimos is outside fucking, Fantastic Four going, oh, you like art, do you? You should come see Four Things. And they're like, no, not that kind of art.
Yeah, he and Refn are just like having PSA petitions signed for, oh, you like art all of a sudden. Yeah, no.
Oh, do you like art, do you? Come, I have something to show you.
I'm
Speaking
something
of,
of
I'll be,
myself.
yeah. So it started to grind my gears a little bit because this isn't just denial. Like we're at the transition between denial and anger where you're just pissed off, but you can't actually process it and start moving on towards bargaining, depression, and acceptance.
All right, we need to move on. So yes, Fantastic Four, huge drop, almost 70%.
Hey, any of us? We've got the projections out now for these other movies that are going to be reasonably accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Did any of us say that stupid Jurassic World movie was going to be the one of the July juggernauts that actually wound up taking?
You fight me every time, which is why I get angrier and angrier that you pick fights with me that you do that I end up being right 8 out of 10 times.
6.5. I keep track of this.
No, you don't. You lying, gaslighting person. You.
I keep track of this. I have a spreadsheet.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I don't know if this is like a running joke, but Mark seems very dinosaur about this.
Anyway.
We also do need to mention that the Jurassic World franchise has followed a very predictable pattern. Each movie makes about $300 to $400 million less than the previous one.
Well, hopefully then they'll stop now.
One would hope.
The Bad Guys number 2 debuted at 2. Naked Gun debuted at 3, which is not great.
This movie is gonna struggle to make its budget back, depending on what the deal is for streaming. I mean, the original Naked Gun was not a big hit in the movie theaters. It was a much bigger hit on VHS and DVD. Well, more VHS in those days, but you know what I mean.
It also wasn't budgeted very much, and it made like 10 times its budget.
Yeah. Well, again, some of this is also like, where does its big cultural footprint come from?
Yeah.
And that's a lot more because back in the day, your home video footprint could be quite large, and Naked Gun had a big.
Superman dropped from 2 to 4. Jurassic World dropped from 3 to 5. Together, which will be reviewed tomorrow by Alexis, Jason, and Robert. Which my son wants to go see. I told him that's not happening. You're gonna have to watch that on streaming.
Come on, go with your son to watch the body horror movie. It'll be great.
I don't have time. I have shit to do. 6. It debuted at F1 the movie dropped from 4 to 7. I know what you did last summer, 6 to 8. Smurfs 5
F1
to
the
9.
movie doing really good and like the only original property this year.
Yeah. Like low key, one of the bigger hits of the summer.
Yeah.
How to Drain Your Dragon dropped from 7 to 10. Cat Video Fest 2025 debuted at 13. Nothing But a Winner debuted at
surprised
22.
it debuted that low.
Architecton debuted at 23. Soulymane Story 31. The re-release of Night of the Juggler 32. Oh, Bambi the Reckoning's in theaters. Outstanding.
I
Can't
heard
let go.
the mother was shot on location.
Dirk.
That was one of the darkest joke I've probably made.
We'll know for sure if we see that line, the disclaimer from the Humane Society about animals being harmed on set.
Can't Let It Go. The story of Robert Winfrey debuted at 34. The fall of Artrard 36, and that was the weekend that was. Hundreds of Beavers is still in theaters. Why?
Why not?
Why is that back in theaters again?
I'm gonna ask you again. Why not?
Anyway, not a whole lot of movement here. Ninja still just under 2 billion. Lilo and Stitch still just over $1 billion. Minecraft still just under $1 billion. Jurassic World Rebirth has claimed the number 4 spot at 766 million.
And that's about. It's not going to hit 800 million at this point.
Yeah. How to Train Your Dragon stalling out at 618. Mission Impossible stalling out at 594. Superman might
It's
get
what,
close
550?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it gets into 600 million, but it doesn't get to 700.
It's not. Yeah, it's
and
not getting
folks,
to 7.
Superman, that's a fucking bomb.
It's
Sorry.
Yeah, given what they spent, this needed 7+, and it's not going to get there.
No, that's not good. And I already hear you guys are just haters. It made so much money. It didn't make enough to justify the budget that was spent on it or the investment in James Gunn. For God's sakes, I don't understand why this is complicated.
One more time for everybody in the back. Here's the math. We do this simply. It's more complicated in reality, but here's the math. They're admitting to $225 million in production. It's probably more than that. Those are always underreported, especially when the budget's that big. Then your marketing budget is going to be something like 50 to 80% of your production budget, depending on how much you believe in the film and how much you actually promote it. Guess how much they promoted Superman?
How much?
A lot. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, 80% of 225. You're north of 100 million at that point by a non-trivial margin. So you're what, 170, 180 million? So let's add 225 and 180. Gets you to 315. You need to double what you spend on the movie to break even.
All right, so you need to comfortably hit 700 million.
In this case, that's where I would be rounding if I'm pitching this, if I'm doing the studio math. If I look at Superman, here's what we're spending, here's what we're spending to make it, here's what we're spending to market it and advertise it.
And here's the thing, if you're just making one of these and then you're going away to do something else, you can probably live with 700 million and everyone gets a nice, bonus check at the end of the year. When your whole thing is, this is part one of a multi-part story, a la the MCU connected universe, and it only does 700 million in the year of our Lord 2025, that is a massive failure. That is them. I guarantee you, they're gonna let James Gunn make Supergirl, and then I don't know if they're gonna continue. If Warner Brothers has any consistency, and is that they're inconsistent, and I almost guarantee you, after Supergirl, James Gunn goes away quietly. Like maybe he gets his Clayface movie because it's an interesting idea.
The Clayface movie is one, low budget and low stakes, so it's low risk.
What I'm saying, like all his big plans, I think this stuff's gonna start unraveling.
I mean, there's a reason that they already announced the date in like 2 weeks for Superman to be on HBO Max. Like, we know the date. They've seen it. They know the projections. They're punting.
Yeah. F1 the movie's at number 8 at 546. Captain America still hanging on at number 9.
Money.
Well, in a row, Captain America, Thunderbolt, and Fantastic Four.
All three money losers.
Yeah. Punt Doomsday into like 2020, into like 2030 at this point, and hope the world ends before that.
They are counting so hard on the Spider-Man movie saving this, and I don't know that it will.
I mean, Spider-Man kind of like Deadpool is its own thing, and if they're doing, if the rumors are true, they're gonna put Daredevil, like the actual Daredevil, in there. They're gonna put Punisher in there.
Daredevil's not there, but Hulk, Punisher, and what's the other one? I forget what the other one is, but
Batman.
Yes.
No. Oh yeah, Scorpion's gonna kind of be the villain.
Mm-hmm.
The number of people doing these. See, I told you that post-credit scene would go somewhere from 8 years ago. I laugh at you.
Again, stop doing post-credit scenes that don't pay off until a decade later when, the entire generation of kids that saw it have now become angry adults that don't date.
Yeah, seriously, like get out of the movie theater. The custodial staff needs to clean up all the popcorn on the floor. I mean, ridiculous. They got another showing.
So we are into fuck you. It's August.
Boy, are we!
and I just
Hang
want
on. Normally, that's the studio saying it to the general audience. That's kind of the general feel around August. Mark decided to take that and aim it at me personally this year.
I told you stop giving me a hard time, and you won't listen.
You think this is gonna help?
So this Friday, it's we've got a fight between Freakier Friday, which is getting a lot of play out there, and this seems like the kind of thing that mothers will take their daughters to, and that's about that, if that at all. And then Weapons from New Line Cinema. So you've got a horror movie for the horror people, and then you've got a Disney movie, legacy sequel. So that's this Friday. A week from this Friday, you've got Nobody 2, a sequel to a movie that came out like post-COVID. And that's about it as far as anything like decent in the theaters. A week from that, you've got oof. I'm just gonna read these to you.
Go ahead.
Honey Don't, which actually looks fucking awesome, by the way. Honey Don't looks really good. But it's a 2025 American neo-noir dark comedy directed by Ethan Coen from Focus Feature. No one's seeing this except possibly me and my son. You've got Eden from Vertical, directed by Ron Howard. You've got another one, Splitsville from Neon, directed
I saw
by
the trailer for that ahead
Michelangelo.
of this movie.
Yeah. Directed by Michelangelo.
I imagine it gave you some PTSD.
A little bit. Mubi, who I think are the people that did the Substance. Got a movie called Lurker coming out, which is a 2025 American psychological drama, written and directed by Alex Russell. So yeah, no one's going to see any of those. And then we end Fuck You, It's August with a remake of The War of the Roses, just called The Roses, from Searchlight, and The Toxic Avenger, which is a year old and is just in theaters.
Now, so you all understand, all those movies Mark just read off, we're reviewing none of them.
That is correct.
Not a one.
No, we're reviewing The Toxic Avenger.
Okay, that's right. We are reviewing Toxic Avenger. The others not.
Yeah.
Instead, Mark decided, you know what? Here's all the movies that came out on streaming that look like dog shit.
Look, I'm not making you do Red Sonja. I fucking hit Evan Bevins with that one.
You're not like. Why do you think that helps?
Night Always Comes will be fine.
You and I have very different definitions of fine.
Oh my God, I'm gonna replace you with Mick.
By all means.
So anyway, so now we get on to September, and we have The Conjuring: Age of Ultron. We have Downton Abbey,
The grand finale.
Yeah.
Wait, when the September come between Schlocktober?
Yes.
Okay.
We've got him, which we are reviewing, and I don't like Jason refuses to look at the schedule.
You know why Jason doesn't look at the schedule, Mark.
And then we finally get to the end of September, where we're doing a movie that's probably going to end up being nominated for an Oscar, and it's One Battle After Another from Paul Thomas Anderson. And that's it. Then we finally get to October, where we start seeing decent movies again. We've got The Smashing Machine, Tron, The Black Phone, Mortal Kombat 2, and then and then it doesn't matter anymore. Then we're.
Can I just tell you, that's 3 months where there's like nothing I'm looking forward to. You just listed out October, and boy, am I not looking forward to any of that.
I'm looking forward to Halloween. I'm already seeing decorations.
Yes, there's a really funny TikTok I saw earlier. It's the trend is people using the jump around sound, but there's like a squeaking that goes on. It's usually somebody being dragged across the floor, and so the caption is "Nobody cares about your fucking Halloween decorations," and then somebody pushes a skeleton set to the sounds of "Jump Around," and it's giving the audience the finger, which I appreciate. So anyway.
No one likes telling their audience to piss off quite as much as you, which is odd because you'd think it would be me, but it's really Mark.
All of that to say, why did I read off all of those movies from Fuck You, It's August and September? Because these movies that we've been talking about, Naked Gun, Superman, Fantastic Four, have somewhat of a chance over the next month for however long much longer they're gonna be in theaters to make any kind of money, because it's not like they have any competition at all. None. Zero. Not a single. Look, there used to be a Pete's Dragon. There used to be a Pete's Dragon in August, Robert. There's not even a Pete's Dragon anymore.
Came out? Isn't that when Dumbo came out too?
No, Dumbo was a spring movie.
Okay.
Do you remember in the halcyon days of Damn You Hollywood when take my hand, Zach, and let's join with Robert. Let's walk over Rememberation Bridge when Reese Witherspoon turned into a romaine leaf of lettuce. Those are the days. Did you ever think we'd get to the point where you'd miss Reese Witherspoon turning into a leaf of romaine lettuce?
I don't miss it.
Right, I miss it too. I don't understand what happened to this world.
I could do without that movie having ever existed.
Those were fun days back then.
Well, now, next week, we're going to be talking about Ice Cube looking at a computer monitor for 2 hours.
An actual Ice Cube? That sounds silly.
An actual Ice Cube would have given a better performance.
No doubt.
Cool.
Interesting choice for old-ass Ice Cube to play a national security person.
The absolute worst adaptation of War of the Worlds humanly possible.
Like, almost done on purpose.
If you'd told me that was the parody...
and Naked Gun was a real movie...
I'd believe you.
I cannot wait to talk about that next week. Honestly, it's been a while since I've looked forward to doing Damn You Hollywood. I can't wait. I cannot wait to do Damn You Hollywood next week and talk about War of the Worlds with you, because we haven't had a good Mark and Robin hate fuckathon in a long time.
We're going to break out the shovel and pitchforks and we're going to go burying.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be drunk.
Then we're going to do The Night Also Comes, which I will I will happily bury that in the backyard too.
Oh, it'll be fine. Look, there's no possible way The Night Always Comes is worse than War of the Worlds. None. I refuse to believe that.
Okay. Yes. But my standard for you requiring burial on the side of the mountain is not War of the Worlds.
I was going to say, your standard for burying things is like on the ground. All right. Zach wants to get out of here at some point. So let's move on with the show here. Ladies and gentlemen, the critical review.
Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
I was not prepared. Damn it. Yeah. Let's just look at all these movies. Strange Harvest. Where are you? Ugh. Naked.
Ooh.
There it is. Yay. It's the suspense that gets me. All right, it's 90% on the tomato meter and 76% on the fan meter. Go to top critics, it drops to 86, and all
Yeah, that's fair.
audiences,
Sounds still good.
negligible, say 76 to 75.
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee you a lot of the audience didn't really get this. Probably wasn't enough like Family Guy. With Liam Neeson, gravelly gravitas proving to be a perfect fit for Frank Drebin's deadpan buffoonery, The Naked Gun revives the original trilogy's daffy sense of humor like it never went out of style. I don't believe any of that. that is absolutely written by AI.
Well, of course it is. It's
Weird AI. That's more of a spelling joke.
All right. Nick Johnston of Vanya because I love reading his stuff. So yeah. Ugh. Sorry. Your review should not start off the way I speak to ChatGPT. So yeah, Leslie Nielsen can rest easy. Frank Drebin Jr. can fill the shoes and pick up the slack, hopefully for 10 more of these. No. This was fun to do once. Let's not do this again.
Yeah, I would struggle with another one of these. Like, I'm glad it exists. If the whole group wants to get back together for a different project, okay, but I don't need another one of these.
Well, there's already 33 and a half.
That is correct.
It's true.
Marlon Wallace with the...
Hang on. So technically it would be 33, 5. It'd be 36 and half and a third is 5/6.
Sure.
Marlon Wallace from the M Report in with the Virtual Signaling Award of the night. A lot of the humor comes from Frank being excessively violent, which isn't good, Durheap, considering that he's a police officer. In fact, he's constantly being reprimanded by his boss for his aggressive and violent behavior, which he sees no problem with. Sir, in the original Naked Gun, fucking Leslie Nielsen, my daughter thought they should take away his license because he kept running people over with his car.
How do you miss the point that badly?
Good God. This is why we can't have nice things.
It really is.
Speaking of we can't have nice things, Doug Walker of Channel Awesome. A movie that cheerfully reminds you parody films can still be funny. Meh.
Yeah, that's true.
That is true.
Especially considering how bad parody got the last decade.
Jeffrey Harris of 401mania.com. Speaking of things that got bad over the last decade. I do that to annoy Robert. The best Naked Gun can do is rehash jokes that other movies did better decades ago. It cannot even properly put together a great opening credit sequence, and it only pays homage to the original version using stock footage. Yeah, my son was like, they didn't do the siren thing. That sucks.
They did it in the closing credits, yeah.
It didn't. And I think they actually reused old footage.
Almost certainly, yes.
So great.
Siren want too much money to be in the movie.
Of Beyond the Trailer, Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson's commitment to this comedy makes it a joy to watch. Sure, the humor is stupid, but it's also very Naked Gun and very Family Guy. Cut from the same cloth, fans of Seth MacFarlane's animated comedy will also love this.
Yeah, Seth MacFarlane's sense of humor is a bit too pervasive for my taste in a bunch of this stuff.
Let's see. Scott Mendelson of a Substack of some kind. With little reliance on nostalgia and plenty of can't get this anywhere else entertainment value, this Liam Neeson starring action comedy is content to just be consistently hilarious. You know what might have also helped if this had been rated R?
Probably.
I think going for PG-13 because you're trying to get like a bigger audience might not have done this movie a service.
I mean, we don't need to go like way into the R territory, but you could have gone a little further.
Speaking of go a little further, Carlo Renato, the Curvy film critic. Did we really need a reboot of The Naked Gun? Not enough black people for my taste. Oh, sorry, I made up that last part. Probably not, but I really needed all the laughter and shenanigans provided by its cast led by Pamela Anderson and Liam Neeson.
What a bizarre pull. Like, how unhelpful is that?
I'm surprised you saw a movie starring white people. Speaking of white people, Kurt Loder of Creator Syndicate.
I had a thing I was going to say. I'm glad I didn't.
Pretty much a bullseye reboot of the 1988 comedy hit, which featured the blissfully inane and now departed Leslie Nielsen. You did not rewatch any of those movies and just went on what you remembered.
Look at all those potatoes. Mm-hmm. Reminds me of my last stand-up special.
Russ Simmons of KKFIFM. I may be the Grinch on this one, but the Naked Gun is a minor misfire. Ha ha ha.
Mixing your metaphors there, buddy.
Speaking of mixing metaphors, Rachel Ho exclaimed, "The brilliance of the Naked Gun in its ability to take everything that was good with the spoof genre and the franchise without being corny, sanitized, or cruel." Oh, we wouldn't want to be cruel now.
No, you don't. That's kind of the point. And this movie isn't. That's the other thing that killed comedy is comedians going for applause instead of laughter.
Speaking of she likes applause and not laughter, Carla Hay of Culture Mix. Not all the jokes are great, but The Naked Gun is a worthy continuation of the comedy franchise and the story of a police detective, Frank Drebin Jr., investigating a mysterious death. The puns and sight gags range from goofy to raunchy. I could not have been a more plain review, by the way. Like, I almost guarantee you ChatGPT write that.
That is very much like review writing. I can't even say like 101, like remedial review writing. This is what you saw. This is how you say it.
I'm going to do one more of these because I really have to pee. Jeffrey Lyles of Lyles Movie Files. The jokes that connect really land. Others come off like everyone associated with this updated The Naked Gun is trying really hard, at times way too hard, to make it very funny. That's fair. Well, folks, Robert's going to tell you about all of his MMA stuff while I pee.
Actually,
You're not going to go anywhere?
Huh?
Oh, I thought you said I'm going to pee, but then you didn't go anywhere.
Oh, there it goes.
Okay.
Why don't you start, Zach? So tell us about the things you do.
I enjoy Coke. The great taste of no, I'm just kidding. I'm not. They didn't pay.
Hey, if you want, this is your time to plug whatever you want. If you want to shill for the Coca-Cola Corporation, that is entirely your choice.
Well, I stole this one from 1986, so
That's not the Cherry Coke logo from 1986.
I don't know. I wasn't alive, so anyway.
I was, and I feel old.
Yeah. Anyway, do you like to laugh? Well, if not, you should still buy my books on Amazon. This is my latest book. It's called Blob and Krillium. It is I will read it to you. Look, there's me on the back. Isn't that cool? But besides the front cover and the back cover, the story inside, we tried to make it read like and look like a 1990s, 2000s Disney film, because Lord knows that Disney's not even trying to do that anymore.
That's true.
But if you like this book, which if you do, you're awesome. I have plenty of other books on Amazon. Just go to Amazon.com. I know, no one's ever heard of it before. But if you go there and type in Zachary Strobel, you will find, and if you want to be really specific, you can type in Zachary Strobel books. Find some books. We got great books for kids between 5 through 12. They're not expensive They're not expensive at all, so you can buy like 20 of them, and you can give them to all your friends or even your enemies, Yeah.
All right. Mark mentioned it, but yeah, next week we're reviewing the Ice Cube War of the Worlds movie. It's on Amazon Prime, and it is not worth the time of your life that it will take to devote to consuming that absolute pile of crap. If you want the full burial, come back next week where we lambast Ice Cube, his failed career, and we always remember that Ice-T is the infinitely superior actor of the two.
Not even Vanilla Ice. I don't know. I couldn't think of anything else.
So I'm trying to bring something up that I would like to talk about, and
Okay.
as per fucking usual, my computer is fighting me every chance it gets. Do you guys both finish your plugs?
No, I haven't really done mine yet, but
Well, I went to you first for that reason.
I moved to Zach because he's the guest and he gets to go first.
Oh, thank
I will start mine while you see if you can get your thing up. So
you.
That's what she said, Dick.
I knew I should have phrased it better as soon as I got done saying it. I walked right into it, and I'm actually ready.
You actually babbled long enough that I'm ready to go now.
Okay, go for it.
Oh, hot dog.
This is what I do. I fill airtime so you can get to what you want to get to. It's why you keep me around.
very much. All right. I would like to show you something that I'm very proud of, but you're going to have to stand far back. This.
Ow.
So I did a thing. I just now realized what you did. So I did a thing. I have been working for the past little bit on this. This is Fra Diavolo, spelled incorrectly on purpose. Recipes for the Damned. This is a various metal genres, slightly leaning towards death metal, album of songs that blend metal tropes with recipes, food recipes of various kinds. This came out on Sunday at midnight. It is now available. I have it up on the screen. It is now available on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you download your music. You can now listen to Fra Diavolo, Recipes for the Damned. I am quite proud of this. I hope you will all give it a chance. It's a blend of different genres. We've got Italian folk metal. There's industrial in here. There's stoner rock. I've got kind of my own ode to oversexed 80s metal a la Steel Panther with a song called Butter My Buns. Yes, sir. So everyone like hawks their books and their jewelry and their MMA coverage. I'm hawking my album, Fra Diavolo. Not since my children have I been proud of anything. So I'm proud of this, and I hope you will all give it a listen. This is like the culmination of all the years of me doing a metal podcast, kind of formulating into all, and also paying off a inside joke between a friend of mine and I, who said death metal is so like people who listen to death metal and death metal in and of itself, it wouldn't matter if you were just reading ingredients out of a cookbook or recipes out of a cookbook. No one would care. And that's what this is. This is me taking that idea and turning it into an actual album. So
generative technology has allowed you to pay off a long-running gag.
What better use for the generative technology should there be?
You've been working on it a long time. I'm glad you've let it cook for this long.
Dirt. All right. Back to you, Robert.
All right. I cover mixed martial arts and professional wrestling over at 411mania.com, WWE SmackDown on Fridays, UFC events on Saturdays. And yeah, so we just had SummerSlam, 2 nights of it. And apparently it was better than WrestleMania, but I didn't watch because if I don't get paid to watch pro wrestling, I tend not to. So that's my stance on that at the moment. This last Saturday was UFC on ESPN 71, a slapdash card from the UFC warehouse. And it turned out okay, at least 2 good fights. And my full report is in the MMA Zone of 411mania.com. And we then there is if you want a more in-depth discussion of that, the fallout, and my thoughts on the news as it relates to combat sports this week, I host the 411 Ground and Pound MMA podcast. I review that card. I preview this coming card, which is worse. We're still in the warehouse, and it's not a good card. I also talk about the proposed legislation at the federal level, because who doesn't love a billion-dollar company getting customized legislation at the federal level to import their monopolistic practices from MMA into boxing? So if you're interested in my thoughts on the Muhammad Ali Boxing Revival Act, which is an amendment to the Muhammad Ali Act, it's just an excuse for the UFC to exercise unfair, uncompetitive business practices in in boxing, because they can't actually compete. So I talk about that. Give that a listen. I also talk a little bit about Conor McGregor. I don't want to, but a couple of things happened with him that made it newsworthy, and I'd rather he died in a bus accident or anything similar. So there's that. I'm a busy boy this week. Tomorrow, on a impromptu Damn You Hollywood, Mark already mentioned it, we will be reviewing together. It's going to be me, Alexis Haina, and Jason Teasley. We'll be talking body horror, Neon, and the lesser Franco, but the less problematic Franco. So, take what you can get there. Then Thursday, on the long road to ruin, Mark and I will be talking about 28 days later, 28 weeks later, and 28 years later. So, yeah, tune in for that when I get to talk about something I actually like. And that usually means the podcast goes badly.
Wednesday, Alexis and I will be doing the second season of Monsters, the Eric and Lyle Menendez story, which I just finished. What a weird season of television that was. Sunday, Jesse and I are doing the source material. We'll be looking at The Crow, which we've already done all the movies, so why not finally get around to the comic? The Butcher of Paris and The Many Deaths of Layla Starr. So 3 books for your listening pleasure.
I'm sure all 3 will make your daughter's best of list.
Now, a week from tonight, we've mentioned it a bunch of times now. Best podcast we're going to do this year by far, War of the Worlds 2025, starring Ice Cube. Then another double dose of Damn You Hollywood, this time Weapons. It'll be Alexis, Jason, and Robert again. Alexis will be reviewing Stranger Things Season 1 with Jesse. Assuming I am back from Virginia in enough time, we'll be reviewing the final season, thank God, of The West Wing Season 7. Look, no more making me review 20 episodes of television a season, for fuck's sake. I'm busy. I don't have that kind of time.
Oh, but Mark, the longer seasons of television were when it was really at its best.
If you say so. Well,
No. The West Wing last few seasons suck out loud. I mean, structurally in general, not the West Wing in particular.
Excuse me, folks. Well, I want to thank Zach for inserting himself in tonight's podcast. Always a pleasure.
Thank
For
you.
Robert,
All, animated snowman.
I'm a sleepy boy. Be well, be safe, and behave.